I would like to invite on stage Mr. Amartyaa Kumar Guha.
So good morning, everyone. First of all, I am very thankful to give us such a lengthy introduction for myself. And in a nutshell, I have worked in different supply chains, be it the QSR, e-commerce, started my career with agro business, and initiated my journey with Britannia Industry as a summer intern during my MBA days. Now, when I saw this topic, I was bit, uh, I, I was not very happy with the topic because I don't think India is still ready with all these terms and how we should plan for future. And then I start studying on certain things where how the global players were working and what we are actually doing unknowingly or maybe unconsciously. Now, as a country, if you see, India is a vast country, we all know, right? It is a country where we are having 2,000 kilometers, I think 3,000 kilometers from south to north, and then from west to east also 3,000 kilometers. We are having more than, I think, 4,000 cities, and we are having more than a few cities which were more than 1 lakh of population, right? And in this, and India is a country who are also exporting and importing to more than 190 countries across India world, and we are having more than 6,000 commodities which has been purchased or maybe supplied to different parts of world. Now, doing everything, we have a very common problem where we don't anticipate. That is, within the supply chain, how we can anticipate the data and understand how we can anticipate any problem within the supply chain where there can be a disruption. And within outside, as an industry also, whenever we do a supply chain between countries or between different units, there is a problem where we always oversee the near problems and we actually try to put things very quickly and fastly, like we are expanding quick commerce without thinking what different type of disruption which can happen in future. So, first point which I thought to bring is that what is agile supply chain strategies for disruption readiness, and what is the resilience which we need to have, how we can create a supply chain which need to adaptive in nature. Second, we are protective where we can react on the problems, and how we can also strategize for the future supply chain. Now, in this, if you see in today's world, if you take some of the examples how India has actually created a very long chain of trails where we were very prudent regarding any supply chain network, is electronics industry. If you go back 5 years back, then we have grown by around 100% last 5 years. You go to the battery industry, which is most of the 100% FDI has been created by the government, and India is expanding in a very large scale. So very important thing is that how we do a scenario-based planning where we can identify the key risks and create contingency plans for different scenarios. And for that, very important is that real-time monitoring and visibility. Most of the companies, be it a very small-scale company, a very large-scale company, the biggest problem which I see as a supply chain guy is that source of truth. Even within the company, I see there are a lot of tech has been implemented, WMS, or maybe ERP, or maybe there are some APIs, but none of the dashboard gives a pure truth of the any numbers, and that is the biggest problem where we don't create any planning in case of any contingency. So adoption of any source of truth is very important for any scale of business. It can be a small scale of business, it can be a large scale of business. If I go 20 years back, then supply chain was basically run by a munshi, a लाल कलर का पगड़ी पहन के वो चलाता था supply chain. Now, when this has changed from a introvert to extrovert supply chain, when the e-commerce came, we are now more data-driven supply chain. But data कैसे देखना है, that is again a problem with the companies today, and we should really accept that, because we create some metric basis what other companies are doing. We don't understand the metrics very much clearly. For example, a very small metric like fulfillment or fill rate. Now, fill rate can be seen as a case fill rate, it can be seen as a line fill rate, it can have a different dimension. Base is a dimension, you need to understand what is the planning process or what are the other process which has been taken. Now, this entire thing require a very holistic view of source of data, which I think is the first step to create a resilient supply chain for next 15, 20 years, where the market, countries, climate will be more volatile than what we are right now. And every 2 year or 3 year, there will be shocks within the supply chain. So that is a critical step where companies, if company doesn't have the money to invest in lot of tech, at least create a basic Excels where the data are coming and we are checking the data. Second problem is that once the data comes, then what is the speed of data? We want to create a supply chain with 10 minutes delivery, but our data is not within seconds, right? If you open in the dashboards within the company, it will refresh. Some data are mostly, I think the tolerance of getting a wrong data is around 10 to 15% every month, because sometimes the dashboards are not working or maybe there are some other problem. So we are not, and we are not also very serious about that issues, because we see, okay, the dashboard is not working, maybe after one day I will check the dashboard. So real time, I think the real time monitoring and visibility is very important, and that is a very core issue where our supply chain cost is also getting higher day by day. The rail logistics, if you see, 5-10 years back, I think there was no visibility properly. But today, I think there are a lot of technology which has been implemented where we are getting a visibility on the rail logistics. India as a country is contributing a large portion on supply chain on logistics. But are we contributing in the right manner? We are actually using the biggest, costliest way of transportation in the highest way. I was just checking out the VTrans logistics presentation. I saw a lot of gaps, and I will talk about the gaps, right? You are only talking about conservative supply chain. If quick commerce, you don't know after 5 years, whatever network you have created, this quick commerce will sustain or not sustain. What you have done for that? If quick commerce doesn't sustain, your 30 warehouses will be empty, or you have a second channel of business which is already in your mind and you're tapping that. Maybe Tata Steel guy, what he was saying, maybe you can put 30% effort to tap that entire market. Right? Similarly, if I create a supply chain for anything, right, we need to think what is the future for next 5 years. It is a bubble or it is something which is sustainable for a long time. And that question I think everyone should take. Third is what I was saying, sorry, I just missed. So India is a country using the roadways in the highest way, where if you see a very progressive supply chain countries, the inland water is used in a very high numbers, and that is the lowest cost supply chain logistics network, right? And second lowest cost is railway. Because of middlemans in India, the railway is also costly for the regular companies. Third, which should be least used, where that is a roadway, that is the highest consumption in India, and that is the reason there is an inefficiency around supply chain in India. Second problem is that if you see any presentation, most of the supply chain is focused only 6 to 8 cities, Bhiwandi, Delhi. So you see the entire supply. So we don't have anything. We have 4,000 cities. Our tier 1 cities is also more than 200. So why only 8 cities? Because whenever we sit and decide, we don't think from data, we think from my heart. कि वो भिवंडी में मैंने पिछले बार भी लगाया था, इस बार भी उधर ही वेयर हाउस लगाऊंगा. नॉर्थ में मैंने उधर नोएडा में लगाया था, कुंडली में लगाया था, मैं उधर ही एक वेयर हाउस खोलूंगा. और मेरे जो सप्लायर बैकबोन है, जो जैसे वी ट्रांस हो गया, और एनी अदर सप्लाई चेन, वो भी वही प्रपोजल लेके आते हैं. सो योर थिंकिंग इज नॉट getting a data-driven thinking. Your thinking is basically biased thinking. And we need to question ourselves. Have you checked the consumption pattern for last 1 year? Is there change from 2024? So अगर resilient बनाना है तो ये सब data हमको check करने decisions लेने पड़ेंगे. And we need to very quick on adaptability. Whenever the consumption is getting changed, every year our network planning should have lot of emphasis. I see very large company like Flipkart or Amazon has put lot of effort to create a network planning team. But in a mid-scale companies, maybe we don't have budget to keep that team, or we are not so much focused to get that thing corrected, and that can also create a lot of problem. Third problem is the quick decision making. Now in India, you have seen many brands, right? Can you name one single brand which is globally accepted? One single brand. If the London people are using maybe a soap brand or maybe a food brand, you cannot name, I don't recall any brand. But we have lot of international brands who are been accepted in India, and most of the brand, right? Similarly, I have not seen any integrated logistics or partner who is actually working across world. Though our route of economy talks about if the export or imports are closed, then we will not have any type of proper growth in the country. Maybe it is, I think, 4,200 billion trillion dollar. We are in fifth or seventh position, and we anticipate to be I think, fifth position. We anticipate to be a third position in 2027. In such case where we don't have any route of supply chain which is growing at 11% per annum, and there is no single player who are working across world, Indian rooted, that is a threat to as a country and also as a business. So we need to also understand how you are structuring your global supply chain. What are the geopolitical issues which can impact every 15 days? USA tariff increase is just an example. And I think that is I am not taking that as negative. That is very critical for us. I went to a city called Karur in Tamil Nadu. They are mostly textile and home decor textile. They are the base in India. And I saw none of the supplier is eager to supply in India. And even they have not opened a single store within the city. And I was very surprised when I talked with the vendor, well, oh, we are very okay, we are getting dollars. I am doing this business for 35 years. I don't have any threat. Now, if this tariff really comes in, the first thing which will shut down or will have impact will be textile. And that is a threat we need to understand for the resilience, what is my sourcing point and where I am supplying to it. And there are many more examples in India who are not reluctant because only US market is open for them. I think this type of shocks we need to anticipate, not only in India, but as a government policies. See, I think there are electronics is a very unique example. When we saw the semiconductor issue, when it came down, we saw there are a lot of initiative by government where it has increased, and that resulted in last 5 years, the dependence of the electronics has come down drastically. And India is rising as a position where the manufacturing will be much higher than what we are doing in the last 5 years. So, quick decision making and strategic buffering and stockpiling is another thing which I think people are working. But I think quick decision making and creating it for future, that effort creating for the future, partnership, sourcing and planning are very critical for the resilient supply chain as we are entering to an era where there will be huge demand, but the market will be quickly changing within 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, 3 years. Now, these are few of the strategy which we can play around, like scenario-based planning. So planning should not stuck to only inventory planning. Planning should be also for your network planning. Planning should be on people capacity planning. One of the biggest reason I went to one of the, I was interacting one of the very, very veteran person in supply chain few weeks back, and I was very worried. She was saying the biggest problem in my supply chain is labor today. Though India is a labor intensive area, but she is saying semi-skilled labor within the and continuity of the labor across 12 months is the biggest problem in India to carry on the manufacturing, and that is very, very big statement done by a very senior guy in supply chain. That means though we have resources, that is not optimized or not is not controlled, and our supply bases where we want to do manufacturing or warehousing, those are not positioning in the right place. So that is also critical where network planning comes into picture, and we need to understand where the resources we will get in the peak season. We can blame Flipkart big billion day that we don't get resources. We can blame quick commerce growth, but business is not running with Flipkart or quick commerce. It is just because you see this thing regularly on paper and talk in LinkedIn, so you feel this is running. But basically, MSMEs are running the business in India. Manufacturing is running the business in India. The retail sector, the unorganized retail is running business in India. And those will get disrupted if we are not planning the things in the right way. So scenario-based planning is one thing. Real-time visibility, I think India has worked very good. There are a lot of visibility, I think SMS or maybe real-time trackers, GPS and everything is there. But still there is needed, these things are available for the smaller companies also. I really regard one company called Delivery who has really worked very hard on tech, and I see very small company also get a benefit from them with a small, not only Delivery, maybe Blue Dart and Ecom Express, whoever, but they are really working hard on the tech part. Diversify supply, that is critical. Suppliers, if you see your sourcing point is only one place, or you are selling in one country, then you are in risks. Today, global scenario, people can take any decision to protect their interests, and that can impact you. And mostly this safety, stock buffer, safety norms, how you create it, those are critical things which we need to see. Now, this is the last thing which I feel we should do, like I told about the establish a central data hub, where we can get all the numbers in one phase and we can check the numbers properly, rather creating fragmented system within the system. Implement real-time dashboard. The dashboard should be agile. We should put money so that these dashboards are workable and we are reviewing it properly. Adaptive analytics models, where AI ML tools, we can forecast a problem and anticipate it. And also we can take a decision making workflows. Basically, maybe planning if before safety stock, we need to put one more trigger to understand if there is a contingency of one particular SKU, we can have trigger. Inter warehouse movement is very critical. Basic problem in India today is that to run Hyderabad to Delhi, the shorter lead time should come down, and also from pick to pack process should be much easier with automation. Pick to pack, and if you can solve lead times between DCs, I think inventory carrying cost will come down drastically. Many big brands doesn't use racks properly. They have not come out of the mindset of go down to a good warehouse. So we need to also create a very compliant warehouses across India. We should get the fire license with full integrity rather than taking a shortcut. And also we should only put up all the third-party vendors, not basis cost, but with the qualities also, right? I see there are a lot of, because if you don't put money of the quality distributor or 3PL parties, it will actually hamper your supply chain, which is happening today, because only cost is one parameter through which we talk, but that adds up to 0.1% of the cost of the COGS, but that deteriorate your leakages with your inventory service levels in a big way. Third, obviously, you should come to this type of forums, take feedbacks, understand what you're doing, how you can improve. You should go internationally with bigger brands, understand how their supply chains are evolving. There are a lot of companies who are also trying to come as a 4PL. Try to work with 4PLs also, understand what is the operating process. And supply chain should come out from phone to, I think, numbers. That is very critical for us. Thank you so much. I think I will share this slide with Ajit so that it can be good. Thank you.